there's a lot of funny things, scary things. Two scary things in particular. One of them, we were cruising, or we were at battle stations rather, and on the surface, and I honestly don't know what the target was, but we had fired a fish, and it was at night, of course, but most of our attacks were at night, and we were quite close to the target, and we fired the darn fish, and as soon as it armed itself, and I believe that's something like 400 yards off the bow, it exploded. And when it did, it knocked out our IC power. Now, our IC power is the power which controls the annunciators, it controls the revolution indicators, it controls the engine speed indicators, it controls the gyro compass repeaters, it controlled everything that transferred information around the boat was basically dead because these generators had been knocked out. So the bridge was trying to get as much speed as possible. We're trying to get the engine room to crank up the engines as fast as they'll go and put out as much power as they will, so that we can put out as much power on the screws as possible. And it took a little bit of scrambling around between here and the engine room to get the word through to them that the IC power was not working as it should. And so it was strictly an emergency situation. We got away with it. And after that, I was at that particular time was an IC, or interior communication, was what IC stood for. Interior communication electrician, and in charge of those motor generators. So I took a piece of wood and drilled a couple holes in it and stuck it inside the control box of these IC motor generators, so it just absolutely could not happen again, and it never did. No matter how much of a jolt we took, those motor generators didn't stop again. And that, I think, was I think that was very beneficial to the boat. Although we never did get too many severe shocks, other than depth charges, and they were normally you're sitting on the bottom or down pretty deep anyway, so you didn't really care about your IC power at that time. And then another time, Red Waddell, Kenny Waddell and I had the controllers here. I had the port side and Kenny had the starboard side. And I don't know, we were cruising along maybe on 2 engines or something like that, standard speed, you know, with the bells over here. And all of a sudden we heard on the spot box, or at least I heard. Now, I think the officer, and it was Cohn again, on the bridge, said battle stations torpedo, and all head flank rang up, you know, cranked it around here as fast as you can possibly go. Well, all that I heard come through here was torpedo, and all ahead flank. And I immediately had visions of a torpedo sticking its warhead right through the bulkhead. And Red Waddell, well, we call him Red. It was he had freckles all over him, and every one of them stood out like a flashlight. It was the most terrifying experience I ever had. Fortunately, Cohn was just playing, just having fun, and battles, just to make sure everybody on the boat was awake. We, of course, answered the bell, cranked up the other 2 engines, and wound up the screws. But I think I shook for a week after that. I could swear there was a torpedo coming through the bulkhead. I even had dreams about it. That was terrifying. There's no other words for it.